And for more on this exact story now, we welcome former Palestinian negotiator Ghaith Al-Omari, Senior Fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, joining us from Washington. Thank you so much for your time. As we've been discussing here in studio, phase 2 of the Trump plan is in motion. There are no hostages in Gaza anymore, and it's been a very long time since pedestrians could move through the Rafah crossing. Security is top of mind for Israelis. Many Gazans are calling this opening a new lifeline. From your perspective, what does this moment mean for Gazans right now?
Look, I mean, I think the interviews that you had with some of the Gazans earlier on indicates the kind of sense of hope, the sense of excitement that people have. You know, after 2 years of war, Israel was waiting for the hostages, and they have been released. The Gazans have been waiting for a degree of normality, and this is starting to happen. Yet, I think what we see in the Rafah crossing right now is a microcosm of the complexities that we need to deal with moving forward. I mean, as Ariel said earlier, you know, Israel is not supposed to be on the crossing, so they have a facility just before the crossing. Israel doesn't want the Palestinian Authority on the crossing, so you have Palestinian Authority officials on the crossing without the uniforms, etc. A lot of diplomatic gymnastics to basically, square the circle of competing interests and competing concerns by the different actors.
Now, you talk about the diplomatic gymnastics. Civilians who have received security approval can enter or exit on foot only, and aid trucks still have to go through the Kerem Shalom crossing, which is under full Israeli control. What is your response to the Israeli concern that weapons or drugs could be smuggled in on these aid trucks? What is your sense?
I mean, the Israeli concern is very well justified because of the history of what we saw earlier. Unfortunately, Egypt was not very tight on its side of Rafah before October 7th, and Hamas on the other side obviously was facilitating that. So there are Israeli significant and real concerns. The question is, how do you square these concerns, these very real concerns, with also the very real needs of the Palestinian population? And I think a lot of the challenge right now is to how do you facilitate and how do you expedite the processing of these aid and commercial goods through the other crossings to ensure that Israel's concerns are met, but not in a way that makes recovery in Gaza impossible.
Many challenges ahead, no doubt. Talking of which, Ali Sha'at, the head of the NCAG, that's the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, is not expected to enter the Gaza Strip just yet. What is your sense of the first tasks the new technocrat government officials will tackle? How could day-to-day life change for civilians in Gaza?
Look, the first task is to start the process of humanitarian recovery. No one's talking about reconstruction at this stage, too early for that, but the basics, you know, clinics, hospitals, sanitation, roads, etc. This is going to be the first challenge. And I think the NCAG, the committee, needs to show that it's making an impact very quickly. Everyone, you know, Hamas wants to discredit it, the Palestinian Authority wants to discredit it. So they have to show that they can deliver. And here they have challenges. Some of the challenges relate to Hamas, some to the PA, but also some relate to Israel. You know, the sooner that Ali Sha'at and his team can go into Gaza, can show that they can make a difference, they can start becoming an alternative to Hamas. If they're not allowed to operate, if they're, you know, basically delayed with bureaucracy and these requirements, Hamas can easily come and say, look, those guys cannot deliver, only we can deliver. So I think this requires a degree of agility from Israel, from the Board of Peace, but also from those guys, from the NCAG, to show that they can also deliver. So they have a huge task ahead of them.
A huge task indeed. And very briefly, to that point, Hamas is still active beyond the yellow line. And from the fact that the terror group is still standing, is this a victory in the eyes of Hamas? How would you categorize the way Hamas views its impact as phase 2 kicks in? Briefly, please.
Hamas feels that they are here to stay. Hamas feels that all the attempts to dislodge them have failed. Hamas knows that no one's going to come in and disarm them, so they feel strong. And unless you create a political alternative, Hamas is quite confident that they will retain real control on the ground.
This discussion certainly will continue. There are many challenges ahead, as you are outlining. Ghaith Al-Omari, Senior Fellow at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, thank you very much for being with us live from DC.